The big news emerging from Parliament's session has been the two big speeches. First, Congress's Rahul Gandhi spoke on Thursday, and then it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's turn. It was supposed to be a motion of thanks for the president's address, but as it usually happens, it became an opportunity for the Prime Minister and the opposition leader to hold forth on their vision of issues impacting the country today. Let's not forget, the two represent parties which are in a head-to-head contest in at least three of the states going to polls: Uttarakhand, Goa and Manipur. So, having analyzed the 90-minute speech by the PM and 45-minute speech by Rahul Gandhi, here's what I see as significant in them.
ऐसा लगता है कि आपने मन बना लिया है कि 100 साल तक सत्ता में नहीं आना है। खैर, अब आपने ही तय कर लिया है 100 साल के लिए, तो फिर मैंने भी तैयारी कर ली है।
The Prime Minister predicted in this speech that the Congress would not come to power for 100 years. If that is indeed true, then Bharatiya Janata Party would be achieving what has been a rallying cry for them since 2014, Congress Mukt Bharat, or erasing the 136-year-old party from the political map of the country. To some extent, the BJP has been successful in doing that. The once ruling party is reduced to just 50-odd MPs in Lok Sabha, which isn't much of an improvement of 44 seats in the previous 2014 elections. And in some states like West Bengal, it didn't even get a single seat in the last election. That's an unprecedented low. So why is it that the Prime Minister only attacked them in the speech and no other opposition party? Why is it that the PM only singled out Rahul Gandhi's speech for a rebuttal? Two things. The BJP needs the Congress to survive. It's only by bashing them do they appear stronger. And this part they deny. Rahul Gandhi seems to have gotten under their skin, which is why so many ministers were fielded to counter him and the Prime Minister spent so much breath on him.
You will never ever rule over the people of the states of India. It has always been ruled by conversation and negotiation.
What's interesting about the Congress attack is how it focused on what they called the undermining of India's federal nature. In recent weeks, the centre has attempted to change rules of IAS and IPS postings, and states have also been opposing the common exams like NEET. By making this the central focus of his speech, Gandhi's message is quite clear. The Congress no longer wants to play Big Brother. They respect the state's power. This is Rahul Gandhi's attempt at rewriting the Congress's legacy of his family, which would arbitrarily dismiss state governments when convenient. With his bouquet of different ideologies and cultures line, the Congress is providing a clear alternative to the BJP. As a voter, are you moved by the idea of one nation overriding Bharat Mata image, or do you stand for an India where diversity is acknowledged and isn't overcome by the overarching themes of patriotism and nationhood? While we don't know what the voters will say, regional parties have given Rahul Gandhi a thumbs up. Even the BJD, which is more supportive of the BJP usually, praised Gandhi's idea in Parliament.
देखिए, आपकी इच्छा रहती है ना, मैं पंडित जी का नाम नहीं बोलता हूं, आज मैं बार-बार बोलने वाला हूं। आज तो नेहरू जी ही नेहरू जी। मजा लीजिए आज।
Rahul Gandhi's challenge, of course, is the manner in which BJP has weaponized that legacy. Our first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, may have died almost 60 years ago, but continues to be relevant so many years later. Whether it is to counter the Union of States charge or the inflation charge, the Prime Minister liberally quoted Nehru to make his point. The opposition has often been upset because the government keeps insisting that nothing of significance was done for the country before 2014. But what this entire episode has shown is that Nehru continues to be relevant in current politics.
और कोरोना के समय जो सपोर्ट उनको देना था आपने नहीं दिया। नतीजा क्या हुआ? नतीजा ये हुआ कि आज 84% हिंदुस्तान के लोगों की आमदनी घटी है और वो तेजी से गरीबी की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं।
इस कोरोना काल में 80 करोड़ से भी अधिक देशवासियों को इतने लंबे कालखंड के लिए मुफ्त राशन की व्यवस्था, उनका घर का चूल्हा कभी न जले, ऐसी स्थिति पैदा न हो, ये काम भारत ने करके दुनिया के सामने एक उदाहरण प्रस्तुत किया।
And my final point, the COVID factor. While the Bengal elections were held during the pandemic, this round of elections are the first ones after the devastating second wave, where unprecedented numbers died. In fact, half of those who died in the entire pandemic were people who died in April, May 2021. There were people who struggled for oxygen and hospital beds, and it left very few untouched by loss and grief and the poor reeling from the economic impact. While Rahul Gandhi focused on how the government had done little for small and medium businesses and unemployment, the Prime Minister blamed the opposition for speaking up for migrants who wanted to go home. Remember those images of people walking from big cities to small? The Prime Minister said that highlighting that the Congress and AAP's Delhi government had made them COVID hotspots because they encouraged people to travel out and demanded trains and buses. The startling claim, however, was not repeated in the Prime Minister's speech in Rajya Sabha the next day. It shows how much there is riding on this one factor, with the people by Prime Minister Modi's explanation and the fact that they provided free grains. Or will the people vote against the BJP in anger? The pandemic across the world, don't forget, has changed the political scene. Will we see that kind of upheaval in India, or will BJP's hegemony continue to dictate politics in these states?